Welcome back to Chronicles on the Focus. Today, we're diving headfirst into the chaotic, anarchic world of the Sex Pistols. Alice, you've always been a fan, but what's your take on the band?
Oh, Bob, where do I even begin? The Sex Pistols were a whirlwind of rebellion, a sonic slap in the face to everything the establishment stood for. They weren't just a band, they were a movement. Their music, their image, their attitude, it all resonated with a generation disillusioned with the status quo. They were punk rock personified.
Absolutely, Alice. They were so much more than just a band. Let's not forget about their manager, Malcolm McLaren, the man who orchestrated it all. He was a real visionary, right?
McLaren was a true master of chaos. He understood that the band's image was just as important as their music. He used their rebelliousness, their bad boy persona, to create a media storm. The famous "God Save the Queen" single, banned by the BBC, was a perfect example of his genius. He made them the ultimate anti-establishment band, and the controversy only fueled their popularity.
You're right, it was genius marketing, but let's not forget the music itself. Never Mind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols, was a landmark album. Raw, unfiltered, and packed with energy. It was the blueprint for punk rock.
Oh, absolutely. The music was raw and visceral. They were the soundtrack to a generation, a reflection of the frustration and anger of the time. And let's not forget their lyrics. They were blunt, rebellious, and often downright offensive. Johnny Rotten's voice, like a snarl through a megaphone, just added to the intensity.
You mentioned Johnny Rotten, and it's impossible to talk about the Sex Pistols without mentioning the constant drama surrounding him. He was a controversial figure, but he was also incredibly charismatic. He was the ultimate punk rock anti-hero, you know? He didn't care about pleasing anyone. He just wanted to shake things up.
Right. And his relationship with Sid Vicious was even more explosive. Their volatile personalities, their drug use, it was all part of the myth of the Sex Pistols. They were like a train wreck you couldn't look away from.
They were indeed. And even though their career was short-lived, they left an undeniable legacy. They influenced countless bands. Their music still resonates with people today, and they forever changed the landscape of popular music.
They truly were revolutionaries, Bob. The Sex Pistols weren't just a band, they were an attitude. They showed us that it was okay to question everything, to challenge the norms, and to express ourselves with raw, unfiltered energy. They were the embodiment of punk rock, and their influence continues to be felt today.
Absolutely. And that's all the time we have for today. But before we go, Alice, any final thoughts on the Sex Pistols?
Just that they were the ultimate punk rock band, a force of nature that shook the world. They were the soundtrack to a generation, and their legacy will never be forgotten. So if you're looking for a band that challenges everything you think you know, look no further than the Sex Pistols.